Alright guys, so we're working on these rocker shafts. I thought this was recording, but it wasn't, but you haven't missed much. I took the rocker shafts out of the box, and we disassembled one of these shafts last night on that evening vlog video. I got the stuff apart. I'm really disappointed here with the rocker shaft shims that were provided with the kit. This is the shaft itself. Comes with these aluminum washers on the end and some really crappy bolts there. I'll try to get some bolts to replace those. But here's our shaft. Here's the factory Volkswagen shim, and you can see how it relatively fits the shaft fairly nicely. And it needs to do this because you don't want the shaft falling out one way or the other. Here's the shaft spacers that the manufacturer provided with their product, which is ridiculous. These things are wambly wobbly. They hang down like a drippy set of drapes, and they're no good, man. I mean, that's not going to work. So I'm trying to use the Volkswagen shims to alleviate those. So I'm working on that right now. I need to move this rocker over, and I'm going to remove this shim. That's the only option I have, and try to move it to the other side. So let me take this apart. I've got two shims here, so I'll just take one of these out and try this first. And this side was a little tight, so this might work out really good. But I still need to, I'm going to have to move this shim from this side to the other side because my rocker also wasn't parallel with the valve stem. So we'll try to move it over a little bit. And I realize that these are sort of dirty. I'll take these back apart once I get them finalized. Clean everything. They have some carburetor cleaner left on them. I soaked them in the soaker. Reinstall our block. Rocker. And looks like one shim on the end there. And then we'll put this back on the motor and we'll see what it looks like. So this is not a very difficult job. You know, it's fun to do when it's raining out. It gives you something to do. And obviously didn't get to go to the drift event today because of the rain. So I let Mama take the truck this morning instead of driving the Beetle. So there we go. There's our shaft. You want to make sure everything floats and turns nice. Of course, no binding is the object. Less friction, more power, all that good stuff. Let me get the camera moved around. Sorry about shaky cam, guys. Boop. Get you zoomed in there on the cylinder head. It's not a really good angle. Of course, if I get you in a good angle, I'll be standing in your way. But there you go. That's a little bit of a shot. And I'm gonna go ahead and slip these on. I think I covered, didn't cover this. I'm gonna go back over it. When you put these together, of course the adjusters go to the top, and you want to make sure these slots are to the top because this is where the rocker gets the lubricant as it splashes down off the spring. So anyway, let's try this out, see what we got here. Okay, we're really good there. We could probably try to put a thin shim in right there, a little more shim. But if not, we're 90% over the valve. We're dead on that one, dead on that one, dead on that one. So this is a pretty good setup. I'm gonna take it back apart and get those. I think I already got all the shims out of this one, the crappy ones. Got one on the end here and one right here. So I don't know, you can see how these move around. I'm not really liking that, you know, that's not turning me on too much. So I'm gonna try to get rid of that, take that out. This one here doesn't really seem to be causing a huge issue, other than, you know, it's not going to be supported by the shaft, so it gives the shim, I don't know, I just don't like it. I'm sure that they'd tell you that it's fine, and they've sold a million like that. So let's go back over here and we'll take this back apart and do the final squeeze on it. And this side of the motor will be done. Sorry about this camera work, guys. Anyway, we'll throw it up here. We have our sloppy shims on this side. We'll see if we can do something with this right now without moving the location of the rockers around. I think these shims that came with the kit are 25 thousandths, I believe. And I've got a Volkswagen rocker up here. We'll take it apart and see if we can duplicate that with a factory shim. This one needs to be a little thicker. You're going to need a dial indicator, a set of calipers, you know, to measure these shims. Normally you can buy the shim packs. It's 25, and it'll come with a variety of shims. That one will work out really good right there for us. It's a little big. Like I said, there's 2 different sizes on the stock Volkswagen rockers, so that's a good place to find a couple shims if you got some extra rockers. These are being difficult to take apart, so I like to use a bolt there, and gives you a little leverage. Ken did clean some rockers up for me. I just didn't I didn't use this. Again, you can't use the wafy washers. This is what we're trying to eliminate. These little spring washers are what fail, and we don't want to have any rocker arm failure. It's one of the things that can be an issue on a motor. However, I don't ever recommend this. I'm experimenting at the time with my car because I gave Greg my rocker arms, and I have stock rockers on my car right now with heavy duty springs, and they're holding up for some reason. So even with my kid driving the car, and I know he's not being easy on it. So again, we're just trying to rob these factory shims. Since the shims that came in the kit were so poor, really a disappointment. And at this point, I'm done arguing with the parts people, so because they're way smarter than I am. But anyway, let's not be negative and move on to the next shim here. I'm going to pull that off, and you can see again, this is my complaint. The shim is sloppy loosey. I'm going to verify that it's 25 thousandths. Yeah. So that's the other thing. They didn't come with a variety. It's just they're all the same size and they're all way too big. So, thick one, thin one there. Yeah, these might work out just fine here. Got one more to deal with, and again, same thing, too big. Looking for one more thin Volkswagen one. Let's see what this gives us. If the rocker gods are looking down on us. And my shaft alignment still looks pretty decent. And my end play looks pretty good on the end of the shaft, so let's assemble this and see what we got. We'll fit it back on the head. Take another look. If this is correct, we'll disassemble it, wash everything, and this side will be done. And the shaft alignment looks decent. You want to be able to slide these on. They can be a bear if you get too many shims and the blocks aren't lined up. Your rocker shaft stands will be wrong, and it'll be a pain in the butt to get the rocker on there, and you don't want that. You want the rocker to go on fairly easy. Now, another thing that you can do is the center block is aluminum. We have nice clearance here. I might sand this block just a tad to open my clearance up, but this stuff is always getting bigger on an air-cooled motor, you know, so unless you want really loud valve train noise, it's this is where you address this. The valve train noise comes from sloppy rocker arm geometry and the shaft's not being set up properly. Some grinds are more noisy than others too, of course. This one here, still can't move my block over, because if I move my block, what's going to happen now is I'll lose my alignment on these three. And this is usually what you come to. You either have to compromise, and this isn't a real compromise. Let me move the camera, try to get you guys down here and show you what's going on. So you can see our alignment's pretty much dead on there, and that's what you're looking for right there. It's really nice. It's dead on there. And this one here, we're a little off. Now the only way I'm going to correct this is to sand this block. So I'm gonna have to go to the belt sander. I'll take this apart, and I'm gonna take a little bit off of this so I can move my rocker over and put more shim on the outside. And that's the only way at this point that I'm gonna get this rocker to be where it's supposed to be, because all the rest of them are good. And if I move any of my other shims, I'm gonna compromise my my block clearance here, my spacer block, and this rocker's not gonna line up, and these aren't gonna line up. So I don't want to move anything. And at this point is where you're going to need a belt sander, and what I'll do is cut some off this block. Looks like about 30 thousandths. We'll take it over to the belt sander there and whack that down. I'll reassemble it, and I'll turn this back on for the other side, and we'll call it part 2. So I got to dig up some more rockers. I had to use more of the shims than I thought I was going to, so I need to go over there in the drawer, look and see what Ken brought me. He brought me some rockers too, somewhere in here. I think I got some rocker pieces are over in his boxes there. And here's another rocker arm right here that I cleaned up, so we can get the shims and stuff off that one. And let me go sand the block down. The other thing you can do if you don't have a belt sander, sometimes these vary in size, and what you can do is you can measure the width of the block, and you know, if you can have a thinner block, then you can fix it that way. But I don't overall want to disturb the clearance on this side of the block. I'm just going to clearance this side so I can move my rocker over and put my shim on the outside. So belt sanders are pretty much the only option here. So let me turn this off, string the cord over there, and get the belt sander going. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me belt sand, or maybe you do. Maybe I should just set it up and show the whole thing. So let me do that. Get you set up over here, back on the stand. And now we're going to pull this back off. You can see how easy that comes off the studs. That's what you're looking for. You want it to unbolt nice and easy and slide on nice and easy. So. Okay, so here's what we have. The easy way to do this, of course, you know, like I said, you want to have a bolt or a screwdriver, works good, you know, to hold the block to loosen it. So we know we're good everywhere but right here. And we have this shim here. We need to take about 25 off. We actually are running 2 shims. So we're getting to clearance either the rocker or the block. The rocker can be hard to clearance because it's offset at the top and it's hard to get to the belt sander, so I like to do the blocks. Some people might argue with that. So let's take this block over there and we're going to mark this side, because you won't believe how many times I get confused between the belt sander and the bench. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're grinding the right side. I do anyway. You guys might have a better memory than me. So let me grab the extension cord, stare at that block for 1 second. Oh boy. Alright, plug this in over here and we're ready to go to the belt sander. We can come back and finish this side with you guys. Let me fix the camera. I'm gonna get you unzoomed or it'll be all shaky mad. Here's our block again. Like I said, I set it down and I would have forgot which way that needed to be grind. Of course, you could reference the you know, the cut on the top that I told you about. Normal person could, but sometimes dyslexic people need different references. But anyway, let me sand this down. Turn this on. Hopefully nobody's been sanding magnesium on this. That's what happened last weekend. Getting warm, let me cool it off. Sand it one more time, we should have it. You want to sand this on something flat, you know, don't use a piece of sandpaper and wonder why it's not flat. If you don't have a belt sander, you can use a piece of 80 grit and a piece of glass. All right, let's see what that did for us. Let me get my Scooter's car here. I had to bring this back inside because of the weather. And I got some buffing to do. I'm just not in the mood to buff. I don't think my chest is ready for anything electrical or pulling on it. All right, so you want to wipe it off a little bit, you know. Like I said, these are going to get disassembled once I get the setup here. I didn't have a shim there. Gonna move this over. Put our shims out here now. See if I got a thick one for out here. Gonna take a thick and a thin out there. See what we got. Alright. Find the hole again, you know, make sure you're close. Stud should slip through there. Tighten it up. Everything's nice and free. Everything needs to work nice and free. You don't want any draggy. Alright, let's get up on this thing here. See what we got here. I'm sorry guys, I keep moving you around. Trying to get you in the shot there. Okay. Let's see how this looks. We made an improvement or we went backwards. Oh, sweet. All right, let's show you what we got. Show you the end results, and pretty happy. Camera's still recording. That's always good. There we go. You can see we're nice and lined up now. Again, we're dead on. Just that little adjustment on the belt sander and moving our shims to the outside. Everybody's happy now. This side's done. We'll go ahead and stamp this side, the 1-2 side, and we'll move on to the other side. Very much just what we did here. The next step will be to bolt the rockers down with the push rods. Put the dial indicator on there, find 50 thousandths or 50% of the lift. So for simple math, if it had 400 lift, we're going to run it to 200. And we're going to check and see if the push rod is parallel with the valve stem at 50 thousandths lift, or at 50% of the cam lift. 50 thousandths lift would confuse some people. But half the cam lift is where you check your rocker arm geometry. So our stud clearance looks pretty good. Everything looks good there. Sometimes you have to cut these studs off to clear the rockers, but I don't think we're gonna have to do that. We're flush on our blocks, everything looks good, and that rocker's ready to go. So there we go. That's rocker arm building 101. We were able to use the factory shims instead of the crappy shims that they sold us, and you could tune this one up just a little hair more, but it's damn close. I'm not gonna mess with it. I think we're good. You know, this one's dead on now, and you know, you can spend as much time as you want on this to make them perfect, but this is as close as you get without really cutting this centerpiece and getting custom. And we're pretty close there, so I'm good with that. That's gonna give us good service, and it's gonna treat the valve train good, and we don't have any shims falling apart and going into our oil pump. So there we go. We have the solid shafts assembled. I'll get the other side built, and then we'll move on to the rocker arm geometry. So thanks for watching, guys.